Hi, everyone. Welcome to another segment of Wellness with Wendy. Today, I have a special guest. Her name is Dr. Navani, and I am going to give her a moment to introduce herself. Dr. Navani, please let our listeners know who you are and what you do.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Navani. I'm an internist. I have a passion for physician health. I have a passion for health. I struggle to as to what I'm going to call myself. I have been on this journey for a long time. I have tried to use the word coach. I am a physician coach. I'm a mentor. I had my own journey through burnout and stress as a result of practicing medicine for more than 25 years. And I want to bring that back to my community, to my colleagues. I figure that if I can support my physician colleagues in moving through burnout and stress caused by a variety of life stressors, they can then go out into the community and create health. So I would then be impacting the health of a lot more people than I would if I did this one patient at a time. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well, that is awesome. And I can totally relate to you don't know what to call yourself a physician, a coach, a mentor. But I think as healthcare professionals, we're all of the above, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
educate, we mentor, we coach our patients when we're in a healthcare institution. But I think in this realm that we're in now in health and wellness, we're doing the same. And that's one thing I discovered about myself is that I'm able to do the same thing and have the same impact, if not more, outside of a healthcare institution. So I love that you said that because I feel like we all kind of struggle with that. Like, what do we call ourselves outside of the healthcare institution? So can you tell us a little bit about your journey with burnout? When did you realize that you were burnt out and what did you do about it? Did you automatically transition out of full-time medicine or did you take some time to kind of think about it and then make the transition?
the realization that I was burnt out for me was retrospective. When I was going through it, I did not realize it at all. And I think that is a struggle that most physicians face. I did not realize it at all. I was on my own journey, just looking for answers. I tried everything. I experimented. I read every possible book which said medicine or health at the end of it. I did courses, I read thousands of books, I did practices, I meditated. It was not until much later that I realized that this is what I was doing. I was actually clambering out of burnout step by step. It is only retrospectively that I was able to connect the dots to understand that this is what I had been doing. So it has been, and I think that a lot of us in healthcare do not understand that we are burnt out. We don't realize it. We even though there is so much talk about it for the last 10 to 15 years, I don't think we don't understand it as a lived experience within ourselves. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, and I always say that, as healthcare professionals, you are definitely a physician, I'm a nurse practitioner, but we spend most of our lives going to school to obtain this title, to do this job. School itself, like medical school, nursing school, graduate school, it's so stressful within itself that we're just kind of used to it, right? It's like our baseline, and we just constantly keep showing up and keep going. And then when we become the professional, we have the titles, we have the initials, we're in practice. We're kind of settled in that because it's kind of like our baseline, unfortunately. And like you said, in retrospect, then you realize, like, I think I am burnt out. I know for me, when I left the oncology practice to join, the pharmaceutical industry, I always tell the story that when I walked out of the office with my box in my hand, this weight was lifted off of me that I didn't even know I had. I didn't even know like what that weight was, but I think it was just the emotional weight of, caring for cancer patients and their families. You don't really realize it because you're just in it day after day after day after day. So, how do you help physicians kind of see themselves, um, to assess themselves to realize they're in burnout? So, you had a retrospective experience. How do you help them see it before, like, while they're still in it?
Of course, by communicating with them, by talking to them, by doing talks like this, by raising awareness. So, Maslach burnout inventory has three components of burnout. They say emotional exhaustion, loss of empathy, and low sense of personal accomplishment. In my experience, it is a lot more than that. Burnout is actually the beginning of everything that goes wrong in our lives, be it any kind of stress, malpractice, disease, chronic disease, loss, divorce, loss of relationships, any kind of professional, anything that we may have going on professionally. I think burnout is the beginning point of everything. So I'm an internist. I have practiced as an internist for years. I'm a hospitalist. In practicing internal medicine, I tend to look at things holistically. I don't do piecemeal stuff. It is, I guess, this is just years of training that I look at the whole thing. I just look at everything. So as I see it, this is something that affects us. The causes of burnout are many, and as you just so rightfully said, through residency, through our training, we are already burned out, we're already there. And then the years and years of caring for sick people, we don't have the tools, we don't have the understanding, we don't we take care of ourselves, but we don't do what we need to do. And that takes a toll, and we don't realize it, and we just keep going. And we, as a group of people, we are tremendously skilled and tremendously giving. We wrote the rule book on motivation. We wrote the rule book on time management. We wrote the rule book on so many things. We wrote the rule book on showing up. So when we, this is something I like to say, when we are in a corner, the walls shake and the skies rumble. This is not, this is not something that can be, that I mean, there are programs out there that's okay, teach people to speak up, teach people to do time management, motivate them. In my experience, these are not the things that we need. We have all already been there, done that. We need something more. We need to dig deeper.
So, Dr. Navani, you said something that I would love to unpack a little bit. What do we need to be doing? You said we're not doing what we need to be doing. What exactly should we be doing?
I think what we should be doing is we need to just address the whole thing once and for all. It's I have developed a comprehensive 8-week program in which currently I'm offering it to physicians, in which I unpack the first thing that I work on is their sleep. Because one of the first thing that goes out the window is sleep. That's even as residents during our training, as nursing training, that's already out the window. So sleep is one of the first things, and then stress management. I Each of us has very personal stress triggers. We have the generalized stress triggers that all of us have, but we also have very personalized stress triggers, which have to be addressed. Just simply saying meditating, mindfulness, walking in nature, sound baths, all those things. That's a generalized thing. They are very helpful, but I don't think they get to the root of the problem. So sleep, stress management, identifying your own personal, unique, specific triggers, and working on those, and then working on relationships. Our relationships are the bedrock of our life, our personal relationships and our professional relationships. If we don't have peace at home, if we don't have a good relationship at work, we get burnt out. So those are the three things that I work on with physicians.
Are physicians receptive to you coming in and saying, "Hey, you need to take care of yourself. You're burnt out or you're on your way to burnout." How do they how do they respond to that? Because as caregivers, like you said in the beginning, we are giving. We're all about the patients. We're all about pouring into other people's cups and not necessarily looking at our own cup to say we need to be filled up. Are they receptive to you as a physician coach who is in the health and wellness space?
I would say yes. I think there has been so much conversation around physician burnout that everybody is looking for answers. Everyone is looking, I think everybody is realizing the COVID pandemic really threw a very harsh spotlight on our struggles. We have been struggling for a very long time as healthcare professionals, as givers. But our the COVID pandemic really showed us, one, it showed us what we're made of. It really did show us that. But two, it also showed us how deeply we need help and how deeply we are struggling. So I yes, people are paying attention, and by talking like this, by coming on these forums, by what me and you are doing, we all hope to be able to make a difference in a bigger way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. COVID-19 has definitely put a mirror right in front of our face. And I think the challenge is what do you do with that reflection?
Yes,
And I still feel like a lot of healthcare professionals are still trying to figure it out because we know what we know. We know we're doctors. We know that we are nurse practitioners, nurses. We know we are healthcare professionals to help people. However, we're not used to helping ourselves, so to speak. We get gratification, we get fulfillment out of giving, 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 giving. But I think the job that we have, right, in the field that we're in is how do we help them stop and take care of that reflection looking back at them in the mirror? And I don't think they're not used to it. So it's new. It's like a new mindset. I know people say mindset all the time, but everything you said, sleep, relationships, what was the third one? Sleep, relationships,
stress.
and stress management. All of those take someone thinking about life differently. It's getting out of those routines and getting into something new, a new routine that's going to actually help impact your life. So, especially with physicians, and as since the pandemic, the suicide rates went up, right, for doctors. I think the last statistics I saw was what is it? I think 3 to 400
Four,
doctors a year commit suicide?
more than 400, more than
More than
400
400.
doctors commit suicide. I mean,
Like,
that's a heartbreaking statistic, and this is what I say to that is that what would be going on through somebody's head, someone who has taken an oath to protect and prolong life, what would be the depth of their helplessness and hopelessness when they choose to take their own life? And this is what we need to realize as physicians. We are not invincible. We are just not. We would like to think that we are, but we are not. And this is not something new. I have been in adult medicine. I've been an hospitalist for, like I said, close to 3 decades. And this is, again, this is something I say repeatedly: is how many physicians did I take care of over 90 years of age? Probably not a single one. Over 80, maybe one or two. Over 70, five. Over 60, 10. And I was not in a community or some downtown hospital. I was in a boutique hospital where everybody comes. And I always wondered, where do physicians go? What happens to them? So they either drop dead or they don't get care. And I
Yeah, I
know
think
these are very hard and very difficult conversations to have. And this is a very, I mean, to look at the man in the mirror, to look at the woman in the mirror is very difficult. It's a difficult conversation. And my message to physicians and healthcare providers is don't get to that point of breakdown to look for the breakthrough. Do it before. Understand where you're at. If you are looking for answers, if you are looking for solutions, reach out. Don't wait for the breakdown. Don't wait for the loss of relationship, for the loss of health, for the loss of privileges, for malpractice. So don't wait for all this to happen.
it's about being proactive. You have to take a proactive approach in taking care of yourself and all entities, so personal and professional, because it all bleeds into each other.
Yes.
Workplace stress bleeds into personal stress bleeds in to workplace stress. So I think it's hard when you're not used to being proactive and taking care of self. And I know self-care is like a buzzword, but for me, I think about it, it's really health care. It's health care because your health, right? Sleep, stress, relationships all take a toll on your health if they are not in order. So it's really getting your house in order before you can go out and say you're serving other people. That's what I'm hearing. It's really about getting
Absolutely.
your own house in order. And I want to kind of talk about relationships because I think that's an important topic in healthcare in general. With the healthcare team. So you have doctors, you have nurse practitioners, you have PAs, you have nurses, nursing assistant, LPN, you have all of the people, you have the whole team there. And, one of my drivers that, motivate me to do what I do is because relationships are important and stress impacts how you show up at work or how you don't show up at work. So talk to me a little bit about relationships and how that impacts the healthcare team, because the team, they're the ones who are taking care of the patients, right? They're the ones who's taking care of society. So I would love to hear your take on that.
Wendy, I absolutely love that you bring that up. This is a topic which is very close to my heart. As I have seen healthcare evolve, we have there is a shortage of physicians. We have a lot of people, nurse practitioners, physician assistants. We have a lot of people putting in good work and trying to help and becoming and creating a healthcare team. And there is a lot of dialogue around this. There's a lot of dialogue in the physician community. There is a lot of dialogue in the advanced practitioner community. And pardon me if I'm not using the right terminologies. I'll advanced care practitioners or the nurse practitioners. So my take on this is that we are all part of a team. And as physicians, we have to become part of this team. We have to become the team leaders that are leading this team. We have to allow everybody in the team to contribute according to their experience, according to their training. I mean, God knows that we need all the help that there is around us. Yes, we I mean, I can tell you why, some of the reasons why some physicians have some thoughts about this. We feel that we are left holding the bag at the end of this long food chain of practitioners. But to that, I tell my physicians, or I say to them that we just have to work with this, that there is no way out. And part of being a leader, part of being a healthcare leader, is allowing every member, is to uplift every member to shine and do their best. So this is while we need help from our larger healthcare community as physicians, we need the support of the hospital systems, of nurse practitioners, of everybody. There are things that rub us the wrong way. We need support from the outside for that. But this is also an opportunity for us to grow ourselves, to grow within us, trusting ourselves, trusting the system, to grow in confidence, to grow as leaders, to grow our abilities. And we cannot do that when we are stressed, when we are burnt out, when we don't have solid relationships around us, we don't have solid professional relationships, we don't have solid personal relationships. I think this is the one thing that would probably differentiate my program the most. Well, two things is that one, so far, whatever I see, burnout for physicians is thought to be, it's actually defined like that. It is thought to be a work-based situation. Way back when, it was defined as something that you had stress at work and then on the weekend you were fine. I don't think that it was ever that, because we are not two people. We are the same person. I mean, I can take you and put you to the moon, take you to the moon, but your emotions and your thoughts are going to remain the same. So I think that was just a very big misunderstanding in this whole thing. We are the same person. So whatever we have, we bring it to work, we take it back home, we bring it back. It's just an endless cycle. So relationships are a key, absolute foundation of our lives.
Yeah, relationships are key. And one thing I would say to physicians out there who may have some tension around advanced practice providers, being nurse practitioners or physician's assistants, is that it's not about you,
I know.
it's about the patient. And the role was developed for a reason, the shortage, making sure that we have the training we need in order to maximize our skills and our competencies to provide quality care to the patients. So I'll say that first. The second thing is you don't want to waste your energy on that because there are bigger problems. There are bigger problems we need to worry about in the healthcare system opposed to, what nurse practitioners or physician assistants are doing. And to your point of physicians being leaders, I love that. But leadership is influence. It's important that, I think all healthcare professionals manage stress because, in my mind, they're all leaders. And it's how you operate. How are you leading the team? How are you showing up in the for the team, not even for yourself? Keeping the patient at the center of everything we do. So managing your stress, sleeping, managing relationships should be for the benefit of the patient. So we have to remove ourselves out of that and make sure we understand and reconnect with why we are really there doing what we're doing. And stress management is so important because if you are working on a team with nurse practitioners, PAs, nursing assistant, whomever, and there are issues there with their relationship, it's going to impact care. It's going to impact the care or lack thereof that patients, or like I like to say, the society will receive. So we really need to hone in on getting ourselves together and showing up to be our best, do our best, and give our best to the people we serve.
So
So
may I?
that's
There
go
are
ahead.
some, there's some things that I want to speak to. And I agree. I agree that we have to be our best selves in order to give. So it is not as much, in my experience, it is not as much as physicians tracking what nurse practitioners are doing or what physician assistants are doing. It has evolved. It has evolved out of a need, a very specific need, absolutely. But the way it has evolved, the way things have gone on is has been something that has left us a little bit off kilter, or whatever you may call it. The speed at which these roles are changing. I mean, I cannot keep track of this anymore. The speed at which the names are changing, the speed at which the roles are evolving. That's one thing. The second thing is Again, I say we are left holding the bag. That at the end of that food chain, we are left holding the bag. So, so whenever there are complications, whenever there is anything, we are standing at the end of that food chain. So I want everybody to be aware of that. So, and the third part is that I know that in a lot of states there is lobbying and there's other efforts for the advanced care practitioners to be called doctors or to be called whatever. I think you might be aware of that. So to that I say, why? Why doctors? And I don't know, I don't expect you or us to have this as a very large philosophical discussion. It's not, it is not something that I think it is even within the scope of what we can parse out. But this is just something to put out there. This is, I mean, I want to be able to speak for physicians. And I think I'm speaking for them when these are the things that throw us off. And then the last part, absolutely, it is about the patients. It is about us doing our best. It is about everybody doing their best. It is about everybody showing up. But it is also about each one of us. It is about us. And this is my message, that we cannot continue to be this 100% person who's just 100% remove myself from it. This is not about me, this is about the patient. And I would encourage every person in healthcare to think like that. It is about balance. It is about being able to balance taking care of myself as a physician, as a nurse, as a nurse practitioner, as any kind of person in healthcare field for that matter, in any kind of leadership role, in any kind of uh, caring role, and to provide care, good care, because there's no way that we can remove ourselves. We are the ones that are, and forgive me if I'm pulling out words. I know we have talked before, and I know that we are on the same page on these things. So I just wanted to just bring that up. I'll stop there.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you. And I know like nurse practitioners who have doctorate degrees are called doctors, and there's some um, tension around that for doctors. And what I would say to that is they have a doctorate degree. So for me, I'm just a type of person, just Wendy personally, I'm not hung up on titles because you can have a title and not be contributing anything. And I just think a lot of healthcare professionals, and this comes to mind, just have to stay in their lane and do what you do. If you don't want to work with nurse practitioners or PAs, you don't want to work for that institution who hire them, right? You open your own practice and you hang your own shingles and you do your own thing. But what I'm saying is, I feel like we need to not, there's bigger problems than who's working what, who has what title, who's using what title. And I know we both agree on we need to all work in a team, because it's about the patient, because that's why we're there, right? That's why we went to school. That's why we're burnt out. That's why we're stressed, right? It's because we want to take care of patients. And of course, we have to take care of ourselves too. But what I'm saying is that we don't want to give our power to those things that don't really matter in a sense. And in terms of holding the bag, I feel like as leaders to influence, you take that person under your wing and you develop a working relationship. So you develop expectations, you guys develop boundaries, you develop how you communicate, you develop a nice working relationship. So everyone's working within their scope and we have great outcomes for the patients.
I couldn't
So
agree more. Absolutely. That is the goal, and that is my message. That opting out of the current system is not an option. Saying that I will not work with all the team members is not an option.
right.
It's not something that we can get away with, because patient care is going to suffer. Our own health is going to suffer. There's just not enough bodies out there to do the work that is needed to be done, and it should be Just like you said, it should be our honor to be able to guide the people to do what we need to do. There are many factors here at play. I'm really glad that we are just beginning to unpack parts of this conversation. I hope to take this back to my colleagues. I'm sure you're going to take it back to the healthcare community providers, everyone you work with. These are just difficult conversations that need to be had, that need to be. There's something that I read somewhere. I'm trying to remember the saying that when you talk about it, when you allow it to come outside, it doesn't remain a problem anymore. There's something, a lot more elegant words than what I'm using. That's what I think all this is about, is talking about those things so we can all air whatever we are feeling and be heard and be seen. And that is the way to move forward.
Yeah, I agree with you because if we don't talk about it and have healthy discussions about it, it contributes to the stress, right?
Yes,
It
yes.
contributes to the stress if you're a physician coming in and you don't feel good about working with certain people on your team, that is stressful. Same if you're a nurse practitioner, physician's assistant, or nurse, and you come in and you feel stressed out about who's a doctor taking care of this patient. I mean, it works both ways. So I think it's important to have healthy conversations and, more importantly, come up with resolutions so everyone feels comfortable coming to work to do the job.
Yeah, because one person cannot do it.
No,
We
not at
have to
all.
be in a team. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Dr. Navani, I want you to talk about more, how do you work with physicians? You mentioned your 8-week program. What does that look like? Do they come in? Is it one on one? Is it group? Tell us more about your program.
It's a hybrid model. I actually went back and forth for a long time trying to make it 100% confidential. Just trying to figure out what would be a platform where it could benefit a lot of people and it would remain 100% confidential. So, what I have is an 8-week program, and once physicians sign up for it, they get modules, half an hour to 2 hours every week. They are audio modules in small, bite sized pieces. They can hear them in the car. Some of them are mindfulness and meditative kind of practices, which I wouldn't advise listening to them in the car, but they could hear them walking around. It's easy. And then I encourage them to do 15 to 20 minutes of practices, some kind of practice, whether it's a contemplation. They're guided. They're within those modules. Every week we build up on something. So say first week we talk about thoughts, becoming friends with your thoughts, then your emotions, then your biology. So just keep breaking down the human experience. And by the fourth week or the fifth week, then we start building back up. And by the eighth week, they are well on their way. They have deconstructed their experience. They know exactly what they are doing, why they are doing, and then they start building back up by the end of it. During every week, they have a chance to just send me questions, and I respond to them directly. Then I just scrub out the details and start creating a library of their questions. So their questions get answered, but it's not in any kind of public forum. In addition to that, I meet with each physician coming into my program 3 times over the program, in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. And we talk about their unique stressors, their unique experience. And it really works. It really works. And I think one of the things I want to talk about in relationships, something that I briefly touch on, is pelvic health and sexuality. That's something that I briefly touch on in somewhere in the middle of the program, and I want to talk about this as well. Is why pelvic health, why sexuality? So if you look at the human body, the pelvis is actually the base of the human body. So we have the limbs hanging around, but the pelvis is the pelvic bowl, the pelvic bones. They actually hold everything. They hold the abdominal organs. They hold the thorax, and then they hold the head and neck. So everything is on the pelvis. It's on the pelvic floor. So this is one of one of the most ignored and one of the most misunderstood functions of the human body, in my opinion. The health of the pelvic bowl determines our health. Because if you can, I think you can appreciate that every single organ is sitting, the spinal column, I mean, everything is resting on the pelvis. So, this is one thing that I discuss with physicians. Pelvic health, starting to form a connection with their sexuality, starting to understand how to take care of themselves. And this has a very deep and profound impact on relationships, personal, professional, and all around. Is the ability to just come into your body.
Well, that is very interesting, and I want to know more. So I think that's very interesting. Pelvic health. I never heard the term pelvic health in terms of coaching. So I would love to know more. So what do you can you give us a couple of things and that we can possibly do a look into in terms of pelvic health, since it seems like it has a holistic effect on our lives from what I'm hearing.
So, what you would want some practices or something?
Yeah, practices or what should we be doing? Dr. Navani, I want to know what we should be doing for our pelvic health. Because I know when you say sexuality, that can mean a lot of things. And, sex, will be very frank, is a part of wellness, is a part of stress management. So I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, more so like sexual health or sexuality just in who you are or how you show up. Um,
All of the above.
oh, okay. All right.
All
Dr.
of the
Navani,
above.
talk to me a little more about this, Dr. Navani. I feel like you're holding back some. You're holding something back.
I am. Okay. Guilty as charged. Um, all of the above. I think the way pelvic health or sexuality is, let me back up. By the time women or men are in their 60s or 70s, if you go down the list of problems that they have down there, it's endless. Almost everybody, starting from incontinence, prolapse, all kinds of dysfunction. And that is because we do not pay any attention to that part of our body. It's somehow, well, not somehow, we know why. It's off discussion. I have seen even physicians, even gynecologists, people who do this in and out, not being comfortable to talk about all this, not not being able to talk about this, not being able to. We are very good. We can keep a straight face and we can do a lot of things. This is a part that is something that we have not developed in ourselves, and it is not something that I'll tell you. I have been looking at this deeply for years, and naively, years ago, I used to think that I'm going to become some kind of irresponsible derelict or something. I hate to admit this on whatever live, wherever you are. But this was one of the fears. This is one of the fears I had. This is one of the fears that has been communicated to me. That somehow this is going to just take me out, take me off my path, take me off, out of civilization or civilized society in some way. But what I find is that connecting with this part of yourself, connecting with your body, knowing who you are, walking in the world fully integrated, with every part of you fully integrated, is so important. It allows you to be a safe and trustworthy presence in a way in the world. That is not possible otherwise. It allows you to be a safe presence. It allows you to be present. Again, one of those buzzwords, in a way that I don't think anything else can. Well, not a lot of things. And in combination with everything that I talk about, I think it's the full deal.
Yeah, I think when we talk about sexuality, sex, pelvic health, genitals, it makes people uncomfortable because it's taboo. And I think we have to normalize these conversations. And I think even starting here, the two of us, even talking about it is really normalizing it. And I think just like even burnout and stress, it's not normal to really dig deep into that, right? Even in the healthcare setting. So of course, no one's going to be talking about sexuality, which we really need to. We really need to because it's part of our overall health. Like you talked about holistic health, that is a big part of it that people don't talk about. And it goes back to relationships. Are you married? Do you have a partner? Are you sexually satisfied? Are you having sex? Right? I mean, those are important questions that can impact your overall health. And we know stress impacts that too, right? So, stress for men has been associated with impotence. It definitely messes with the women's hormones. So, these are
Everything.
serious things
Every
that we're
aspect.
talking about.
Well, I don't, like I said, I touch upon it. This is not, I plan to create some other programs down the road. This really speaks to the depersonalization, the disconnection from our bodies, the disconnection that we feel with burnout. This is very specifically targeting burnout. So I touch upon this as an awareness builder within this 8-week program. Anything more than that probably is, is something that I would create down the road.
Yeah, I love it because we carry stress and burnout. It's inside of us.
It's
It's
inside of
inside of us. Even though we talk about it, it's inside we're talking about. I almost think about it more on a cellular level, right? That it impacts our souls. If you want to, that's how I describe it. It's not something that's kind of like poo poo, but it's really embedded in our cells.
it's
So
a
it does
part of
impact.
us. Yeah, it
Yeah,
becomes it
mhm,
becomes a part of us.
absolutely.
It's very insidious.
Hmm.
Burnout is very insidious. It's very, very difficult to recognize. Because, see, at the end of the day, we are very high functioning people.
Hmm.
To
Yeah.
begin with, we are very high functioning people. So it's very insidious, and we can continue functioning at very high levels and not never suspect it, never detect it, never know that this is what's going on with us.
Yeah. So the power of the pause,
Yeah.
the power of the pause. So, Dr. Navani, I love that you're doing that and you're impacting the world in so many different ways, and you've dedicated your time and your energy to this. So, I think it's amazing. I love your perspective on it. It's different. It's what make you unique. And how can people learn more about you and your program?
So I my website is therenewedmd.com. The THERENEWED RENE, yep, renewedmd.com. And they can go on there. There's a short video telling them about the program, and they can then sign up to be on the email list. I'm in the process of creating Facebook groups, or I'm thinking about what would be a way. I am deeply committed to physician confidentiality. My goal is to have this be completely 100% confidential. So I have been really trying to tiptoe around the social media to see what would be the right way to go about it in a to allow physicians, because the lack of privacy is something that really kept me from getting the support or doing what I needed to do Of course, I did not understand that I was burnt out, but I think this is a very big stumbling block for physicians, the confidentiality piece. So I'm fully committed to making the process 100% confidential. So even though it's a group program, many people are doing it at the same time. They don't, at least as far as I have it structured today, they don't have to interact with each other.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too, the confidentiality. And what comes up for me is that community is so important when you're working through
Yeah.
something like this. So we have to stop hiding. We need to come out
I
and be
get that.
together.
I understand that. Yeah.
But I understand people want their privacy. I totally understand it. So I commend you for really trying to move that way and provide them with what they're asking for and what they need to get the help. So I will ask you, do you have any last words you want to leave our listeners with before I take you through a rapid fire?
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that was coming. So, my message is I want to meet physicians where they are at. I'm here. They can find me. This is during my program. I think the final result of it is that they get connected to themselves and to their inner voice. They develop inner strength and clarity connecting to their inner voice. And this is really what I am doing for myself too, is answering my calling, answering my inner voice. It's scary. I'm a physician, I'm board certified 3 times. I could just be seeing patients. But this is me showing up, answering my inner voice. And my message to physicians is that they can step up, they need to step up. It's the need of the hour for us to build ourselves inside so that we can avail of all the resources that governments, hospitals, our community is just throwing at us, giving to us, providing us. But in order to avail of those resources, we have to start with ourselves. And
Awesome.
thank
Well,
you so much for the work you're doing. Thank you so much for bringing me on. I really appreciate it.
yeah, thank you so much for being here. And I love to get your emails. They're so inspiring. So if you guys go to her website, definitely sign up to her email list. She sends out a couple a week. Really great information. So we will end with the rapid fire. So the first thing that comes to your mind to answer the question or finish the statement, just let it out. All
Okay.
right. Wellness means
Wellness means being healthy and being happy and being able to do what you want to do in your life.
I know I'm stressed when.
I want to hide.
My go to stress management solution is.
Breathing and meditation.
One thing people get wrong about me is.
That the depth, the emotional and psychological and mental depth, I guess the strength, the emotional, mental, psychological strength that I actually have.
Mm, I love that. That's deep. That was a deep answer. Dr. Navani, what is something you learned about yourself during this pandemic?
I think the pandemic was very helpful for me. As hard as that might be to believe, I'm a deeply introverted person, and I had been living my life just out there. Being a physician, there's no option, and I had forgotten how much I gain from being with myself, from spending time alone. So that really allowed me to disengage from a lot of things and to then go back to them in a way that is really nourishing for me.
I love that. And my last question for you is, what do you do when you feel fear?
When I
When you feel fear or afraid?
when I feel afraid. This is a deep a long answer. What do I do when I feel fear? There are many types of fear. There is a fear of the lion standing in front of you. There is the existential anxiety or fear of who am I, why am I here, the existence. For the most part, the existential fears I have taken care of. I think I have my answers. The fear of the lion standing in front of me, the fear of coming on your show, the fear of putting myself out there, I just do it.
Hmm. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, when you feel the fear, I always say that's when the shift is happening, and you just have to do it. You have to lean into it. So I love your
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Vani, I want to thank you so much for being here and sharing yourself with our audience, and we'll definitely have to have you back.
Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate it. And thank you for all your listeners, your audience. Thank you, guys.